Hey everyone, I'm Vanessa, and today we'll be talking about the Pet Safe Scoop-Free Automatic Litter Box. So this is what it looks like. This was a complimentary product on behalf of Try It Sampling and Pet Safe. It was an interesting product to try. I had always wanted to see how well they worked. Like with any litter box, they do have their pros and cons, and they do have their own sets of issues. This particular one includes everything that you need in the box, and it also included the litter, and this litter box uses crystal litter. This one used a variety of different blue shade crystal litter. Pet Safe also sells a purple crystal litter and a white crystal litter. I'm not really sure what the difference of them are, but I do think the purple one may be scented. Overall, it's a unique product. Again, it has its pros and cons. The retail price of this particular litter box, depending on retailer, is around $150 US. So let's get started. So the Pet Safe Scoop-Free Self-Cleaning Litter Box was a complimentary product on behalf of Try It Sampling. This is just an overview of the box itself. It includes everything you need: the litter box with the motor, the litter box pan, which is cardboard, litter, and a wall plug. Depending on how many cats you have, changing the litter may vary. It does state in the instruction booklet that you not leave the litter box plugged in if you have a kitten, and it is for kittens 6 months and over. That's just the litter pan lid, and that's the litter and the electrical cord or the wall plug. This is just to show you how you snap the litter pan, and that was the lid from the litter pan that came damaged. That's the power port for the cable, and it includes clips on either side so you can run the cord through. And that's the bag of litter. It comes, I believe, with a 4-pound bag of litter, and it again is crystal litter. And this was to show you the initial setup of the litter box. I actually put it together backwards just to show you how the rake works. And that's how it cleans the litter box. It cleans every 20 minutes, and the rake doesn't have any sharp edges. And this is just a disclaimer to show you that the next clips will show kittens using the litter box. And Sammy loved the litter box at first. Dylan was being nosy and investigating, and as you can see, the litter does change color. So when I originally put this together, I actually put this together backwards. Actually, the tray is supposed to go to the front of the unit. So you take this piece off, and as you can see, it's got a little piece of cardboard that has magnetic clips on it. So the magnetic clips hold this plastic piece. And then underneath that is where all the litter goes. I'm still kind of trying to figure out what the point of some of this design is of this, because it's still a little off. But I'm going to go ahead and run it again so you guys can see what it looks like. And as you can see, my kittens have used it, so it does have yellow spots. The rake is pretty easy to use. It's not extremely loud, which is nice, so it doesn't scare the kittens. But I felt that it is kind of strange in its raking system. As you can see, there's a bunch of litter there that got collected that was basically clean. This is basically, from what I read in the instructions, you're just supposed to use it like when your cat goes poo. And you can use it, I guess, just kind of to rake through the litter. But I noticed that this litter is kind of messy, and it does break up into pieces. So as you can see, it flips back when it goes backwards, which is interesting. It's just this little grate, so it doesn't have anything sharp, but it is an interesting process. And it's supposed to work 20 minutes after your cat leaves the litter box. So this is what I want to show you. This was to show you how the rake worked for solid waste. I was kind of disappointed. That was a bit of a fail. And these were just to show you what it looked like after week's usage and how to remove the litter box and how you would throw it away. So hi everyone, today as I mentioned we are talking about the pet safe scoop free self-cleaning litter box. This was a complimentary product on behalf of the Try It sampling community and Pet Safe. Overall, it was a very nice product, but it had some pros and cons, which we'll get to shortly. As you saw in the previous video, it worked well. My kittens liked it for a short time, but let me go ahead and unbox it, and I'll show you some of the pros and cons of it. So now that I have this out of the box, as you can see, this is what it looked like. Pretty much exactly when you take it out of the original box. It did include litter, and this is the rake that moves the waste. And this is the little hatch where your waste goes. This, for me, was the biggest pain because you actually have to line it up with the magnets, and there are magnets. As you can see, I tore that off. Magnets here, and there are magnets here. So what you do is basically you line them up, and when the hatch lifts, that's where the litter goes, as I showed you in the previous recording. This is kind of a con because it picks up, as you can see, a lot of leftover litter. This was just, I kept the bottom to show you guys what the bottom looked like. But a lot of the litter gets trapped in there, and even if you have solid waste, it just makes a bit of a big mess. I didn't really care for that. Granted, at that time, my kittens were about 4 to 5 months old, so they didn't really use it very much. They used it probably about 3 or 4 times, and that was it. They didn't care for the fact that it was such a shallow bottom. So let me take this off real quick. The litter comes, as I showed you earlier. And it's just a regular plain box, as you can see. And when you're done, you take this apart, and that's the lid. And as you can see, the lid came damaged. So that's kind of a nuisance too, because it's just plain cardboard. So basically, when you're done, you throw this away with the lid, and then you place a new replacement box underneath. Now, the thing about this, I noticed, again, is these magnetic tabs and this. And I noticed, as you saw earlier, this has a tendency to fall off. I don't know if I'm not using it correctly or that's just the way this particular model was. The little clips, if you lift it too far, it just falls off. Another thing that I noticed is that you really have to read, if my phone wants to focus, you really have to read the instructions. So as you can see, if you have 3 or more cats, you would change this about once a week to once every 10 days. Again, being that my kittens only used it a handful of times, I really didn't do very much with it. I left it for them for about a week. Again, the actual raking system rakes the litter about every 20 minutes or so because there is a time limit on there. And I also found that the connector for the plug, which is here, is also a bit of a pain because you have to feed the plug through here and then you line up the wiring either through here or through that side, wherever you want to run the plug to. The cord is a decent length, which is good, but you do have to have it near an electrical outlet, so it will have to be plugged in for a set amount of time. I mean, as I said, I believe it runs every 20 minutes. The directions do state that if you do have a kitten, that you not leave it plugged in or leave it unattended with your kitten. It does have an automatic stop if it senses movement or anything in the litter box. So overall, it is a good product. I'm not saying it's not, but maybe it's more for a single cat household, or for if somebody's going to go on a trip, or if you have some other type of issue. But I'll be back to share a little more with you guys in just a few minutes. So this thought just struck me, and I know someone would probably ask me if this would work. And I happen to have just an extra standard large litter box here in the studio. And I wanted to show you guys that it does not fit. They do have a plastic replacement bottom that's sold through Amazon. And I'll include that link in the bio, but that would, or the link in the description. And that would kind of have to be something that you guys would have to do your research on. So this would not fit a standard litter box. As you can see, it just went sideways when I knocked it. But it wouldn't fit a standard litter box. So it would have to be like a shallow container to place it over if you didn't want to use the box replacement bottoms all the time. But I will include that link to the plastic replacement bottom from Amazon in the description if anybody wants to read a little more about it. So again, I'll be back in a few minutes to add any other last thoughts. So hi everyone. I'm sorry the video was so long, but this was something that kind of needed a little in-depth work with it. Overall, it is a nice litter box to have. Would I use it all the time? Probably not. My kittens, like I said, at that point, Dylan, Teddy, and Sam were roughly about 5 months old, so to them it was a novelty. Teddy has sensitive paws, so he didn't really care much for the crystal litter. I think it poked his feet. Sophie, that is now almost 15 years old, didn't even want to set foot in it. She just smelled it and looked at it and walked away. But Sam and Dylan did use it for a short time. Sam didn't like it because it wasn't deep enough. He likes to dig. So if you have a kitten or a cat that likes to dig, this might not be a product for you. Getting back to the crystal litter for just a second, it is very messy, and I found that some of the edges on some of the litter could be kind of jagged depending on the type and style. I'm not sure if you have to use this litter as a replacement all the time, or you can interchange crystal litters. That's something that you'll have to try on your own. As I shared in the previous video real quick with the not fitting on top of a standard litter box, again, they do have a plastic litter pan that's sold through Amazon, and I have included the link in the description below. I don't know if it fits all of the pet safe scoop free litter options, but apparently it would fit for this one. There are also a couple of other pet safe litter boxes that are automatic cleaning. They do have one that has Wi-Fi connectivity, or Bluetooth connectivity, or both. But again, to me, that's a little more of a novelty. But I would see this being useful for a single cat household, because you would probably not have to replace litter as much as a multi-cat household. Or maybe for someone that's going to take a short weekend trip and doesn't have someone to cat sit for them. Something like that. Maybe if you have a mobility issue. It really just kind of depends on what you're looking for. Overall, I was kind of disappointed by the raking system. I didn't really like that it didn't scoop up the waste. Again, my kittens were smaller than maybe it has to have, for a lack of a better word. Maybe the cat waste has to be a little bigger, or maybe just it has to be in the right spot where the rake will just rake it through and not sweep it under or in between the little grate. I thought that could have been a better issue, and the little hatch on the front is kind of a design flaw for me. But other than that, I think if this is something that someone is really interested in, you'll have to do your research on it and see if it will benefit you and your cat household. Besides that, I didn't really notice a real smell with the crystal litter, but again, you may have to scoop solid waste if the rake does not catch it. And I just didn't really care much for the cardboard bottom. Even though it's coated with like a wax or a plasticky film, I still don't know how well it would hold up after a few days of solid use. Apparently it holds up well. Again, it may just vary from household to household, but if you're interested in any of that, I've included all of the information in the description below. So thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a good day. Bye.